For months, the WWE Universe waited in silence. Rumors spread, doubts grew, and everyone thought they'd seen the last of her. But tonight, everything changed. Because when the lights went out and that music hit, the entire arena erupted. No warning, no build-up, no mercy. Rhea Ripley is finally back, and the reaction shook the whole world. But to understand the explosion, you have to understand the quiet that came before it. The arena was settling into a rhythm, a standard night where nothing felt dangerous. The crowd was lulled into a sense of safety, unaware that the atmosphere was about to fracture. Then the darkness hit. It wasn't a technical glitch. It was a signal. A single piercing guitar riff sliced through the air, and instantly 20,000 people lost their minds. It wasn't just cheering. It was a primal release of pent-up energy. The cameras shook, not from cinematic effect, but from the physical vibration of the floorboards. In the center of the stage, a silhouette emerged from the smoke, unmistakable, imposing, and radiating pure power. The shock on the faces in the front row wasn't just surprise. It was the look of people witnessing a force of nature returning home. While the arena was a chaotic storm of noise, a second wave was building instantly across the globe. Millions of screens lit up simultaneously. Notifications pinged in pockets from Tokyo to New York, carrying 3 simple words: "She is here." The internet didn't just react. It buckled under the weight of the moment. Timelines flooded with clips, blurry photos, and capitalized screams of disbelief. It was a shared digital heartbeat, a rare moment where the entire world seemed to be looking at the exact same image at the exact same time. The anticipation had been agonizing, making the release overwhelming. The comment sections became a diary of raw emotion. People weren't discussing a wrestling match. They were talking about a feeling. They spoke of the void she left behind and how suddenly that empty space was filled with chaos and charisma. Fans recorded their live reactions, hands over mouths, tears welling in eyes, breathless with the sheer adrenaline of the surprise. It proved that in an era of spoilers and leaks, true mystery still holds power. The collective gasps heard around the world were proof that we are all still desperate to be genuinely, wonderfully shocked by something we love. Shadows in the locker room. But while the fans celebrated, the mood backstage shifted into something far colder. Imagine the air leaving a room. The champions who had grown comfortable in her absence suddenly felt the floor tilt beneath their feet. Confidence turned into calculation. The roster watched the monitors, not as fans, but as survivors, seeing the predator return to the ecosystem. There is a specific kind of tension that arrives when the hierarchy is disrupted without warning. All the plans, the storylines, and the carefully constructed egos were instantly threatened by the mere presence of the woman walking down the ramp. The unspoken reality of the locker room is that there is only so much spotlight to go around. When a star of this magnitude returns, she doesn't just join the show, She consumes it. The script that everyone thought they were following had just been rewritten in real time. You could see the realization dawning on the faces of her rivals. The easy days were over. The standard for greatness had just been raised back to an impossible height. It wasn't just fear, it was a heavy, burdensome respect. They knew the war had officially restarted, and no one was safe. The weight of the crown. We see the glory, the lights, and the screaming fans. We rarely think about the long, silent road that leads to that ramp. The months away weren't a vacation. They were a battle fought in isolation. Hours of physical therapy, days of doubting if the body would ever move the same way again, and the quiet, nagging fear of being forgotten. To return isn't just about walking out. It is about rebuilding oneself from the ground up. The Rhea Ripley standing in that ring wasn't the same person who left. She was forged in the fire of patience and pain. There is a unique psychological toll on a returning icon. They have to answer a terrifying question: do I still have it? As she stood there, soaking in the adoration and the fear, beneath the leather and the attitude, there was a human being verifying her own existence. The roar of the crowd is the only validation that matters. It washes away the months of solitude. For a brief second, the character drops, and the person breathes. She realized that the time away didn't diminish her legacy. It crystallized it. Absence didn't make them forget. It made them hungry. As the music faded and the lights stabilized, a heavy silence returned. But this was different. It wasn't the bored silence of the beginning. It was the silence of anticipation. The landscape of the entire industry had shifted in 5 minutes. All eyes were locked on the center of the ring. The story wasn't about a match anymore. It was about dominion. She didn't need to say a word. Her presence was a promise of violence and a guarantee of entertainment. The balance of power had snapped back into place, and everyone, from the nosebleeds to the front row, felt it. Here is the twist that nobody realized in the heat of the moment. We thought we were cheering for a hero, or perhaps a villain, returning to fight. But the truth is deeper. We weren't cheering for a person, we were cheering for chaos. We realized that without her, the order was too perfect, too boring. We crave the disruptor. Rhea Ripley didn't just come back to win a belt. She came back to remind us that we are all addicted to the storm. And looking at her eyes, we realized the storm was just getting started.